My younger brother, essentially the black sheep of our family, has started dating a girl far wealthier than we are and has a lot more opportunities than my siblings and I because of that. My family is resenting him for that. My husband's Trump obsession has turned our home into a MAGA shrine, and I'm losing my mind. I never thought I'd be posting here, but I desperately need to vent. My husband of 12 years has transformed from a reasonable conservative into what I can only describe as a Trump cult member, and it's destroying our marriage. Our house has become a literal shrine to Trump. I wish I was exaggerating. There's a 6-foot Trump cardboard cutout in our living room that he talks to every morning like some sort of religious ritual. Our walls, once decorated with family photos, are now plastered with Trump flags. He even replaced our American flag with a Trump 2024 or death banner. My kids are embarrassed to have friends over. Last week was the final straw. He spent $3,000 of our savings on limited edition Trump gold-plated coins and a certified authentic piece of Mar-a-Lago toilet paper. $3,000. When I confronted him about taking money from our children's college fund, he said, Trump University will be reopened and make education great again. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. Every dinner conversation somehow turns into a Trump sermon. He'll randomly shout, "Stop the steal," during family meals. When our 15-year-old daughter got an A+ on her history project about the Civil War, he accused her teacher of being a communist infiltrator for not teaching the truth about Trump's victory. Our bedroom. God, I'm mortified to even type this. He insists on keeping a giant Trump portrait above our bed because Trump watches over us. He even got a Trump tattoo on his chest and keeps trying to convince me to get one too. He calls it his mark of patriotism. His entire personality has been consumed. He changed his wardrobe to only red clothing. He refers to himself as a digital soldier and spends hours posting on Truth Social. When I asked him to help with our son's homework, he said he was too busy fighting the deep state online. The paranoia is getting worse. He installed cameras around our house to watch for Antifa. He thinks our neighbors are deep state agents because they have a pride flag. He threw out our coffee maker because Starbucks is funding the radical left. He even accused our golden retriever of being suspiciously woke because she didn't bark at a Biden commercial. Our sex life. He insists on playing Trump rally speeches in the background and keeps trying to get me to wear a Melania mask. I wish I was joking. He has different MAGA hats for different occasions, including one specifically for bedroom patriot time. I'm dying inside. I found receipts showing he's donated over $15,000 to various Trump-related causes this year alone. Money we needed for our mortgage. When I showed him our overdue bills, he said, Trump will fix the economy and make us rich. We're facing foreclosure, but he keeps buying Trump merchandise. Yesterday, he announced he's legally changing his name to Donald J. Trump Smith and wants our kids to follow suit. Our 10-year-old son started crying, and my husband told him, real patriots don't cry, and made him watch 4 hours of rally footage as testosterone training. I've tried everything. Marriage counseling, he called the therapist a socialist. Family interventions, he disowned his own mother for suggesting he get help, even pleading with his Trump-supporting friends to tell him he's going too far. Nothing works. He just goes deeper into the rabbit hole. The worst part, under all this Trump worship, I know my real husband is still in there somewhere. Sometimes, late at night, I catch glimpses of the man I married. But then morning comes, he puts on his MAGA hat, salutes the Trump cutout, and the cycle begins again. Edit. Please stop denying me about joining your Trump wife support group. I appreciate the thought, but I'm not interested in your MLM scheme selling Trump-themed essential oils. Edit 2. Yes, I've already hidden our important documents and started a secret savings account. And no, I won't sell you his rare Trump toilet paper, even if you're offering Bitcoin. Edit 3. To the people saying this can't be real, I wish I was creative enough to make this up. Come visit for dinner sometime. Hope you like hamburgers while watching Tucker Carlson reruns on loop. I have no regrets about moving my intellectual disabled brother into a group home. I am so tired of people trying to villainize my parents and me for moving my brother into a group home. Would you let an extremely violent, 6-foot-tall adult man live in your house? Even after he attempted to strangle you while you were driving, then later did the same to another one of your family members? You think I, a pregnant woman, should let that man in my home? Yes, he is their son. Yes, he is my brother. But he is also a dangerous adult who needs 24/7 care. He cannot be taken out in public or be around children, not just because of his violence, but because he will not stop touching himself. We know he only does it because it feels good and not because he's some type of predator, but the public doesn't, nor should they have to be exposed to it. Placing him in a group home was the best thing for him. Expecting my parents and siblings to live under his tyranny for the rest of their lives is unreasonable. No amount of medication, therapy, or treatment will fix his missing chromosome. Most of the judgment comes from people who met him before puberty, when he was a friendly, kind, small child. That is not who he is anymore. He is an adult who has violent meltdowns when he is not allowed to eat an entire jar of gummy vitamins. It's the 1-year anniversary of when we finally got him into a group home. And in this year, I have watched the light come back to my parents' and siblings' eyes. My father's depression is gone. My family can go out in public again. They can go to the movies, the park, restaurants, church, and anywhere else as a whole because no one else has to be the person who stays home with him. My brother is better behaved, but he has caregivers who aren't burdened by him 24/7. They are better equipped to deal with him because they only have to for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Also, since there are multiple different people taking care of him, he is less hateful to them. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. My husband left our 5-year-old and 9-month-old home alone and refuses to explain why. My husband is 43, and I'm 31. We've been married for 7 years and have a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old. My husband left our children alone, and he refuses to admit it or tell me where he was. I'm furious, enraged, and my husband keeps telling me I'm making a big deal out of nothing. This just happened this weekend. I am on the board of directors for a local non-profit organization. I had to attend an event for that organization this past Saturday, and I was gone for most of the day. My husband was supposed to be home with our kids. I texted him a few times, And he responded. When I called around midday, he didn't respond, but that's not very unusual. Shortly after that, I got a call from my mom. She said my son had just called her, and when she asked him what he and his sister were doing, he said they were both watching TV. When she asked where their dad was, he said his dad wasn't there. My mom asked him several other questions, and from my son's responses, she believed he was telling the truth and that my husband wasn't there and that there was no adult there at all. She said he didn't seem scared to be alone or worried about where his dad was. He just called her to chat. He has a tablet designed for children, with pre-programmed contacts that he can call. It's only a few people, just family members. I left the event immediately and began texting and calling my husband repeatedly. He didn't respond to my first several attempts. It took him about 10 minutes, I was halfway home at that point, to respond. I was so confused, so worried, really mad, and I asked him where he was. He said he was at home. I told him our son had just told his grandmother that he was home alone with his baby sister watching TV about 15 minutes ago. My husband denied it, and I told him I was too upset to talk and drive. When I got home, I checked on the kids right away, and they were both fine. I asked my husband again, where was he? He said he was home the entire time, that he doesn't know what our son was talking about, but he must have just been confused since he had gone to the basement to do some laundry. I ran down to the basement. It was the same load of laundry I'd thrown in the dryer the night before. He didn't do any laundry when I was gone. I asked my husband why my son would be confused about whether his dad was home or not. Where in our home would he have gone, and for how long, for our son to think his dad wasn't home? That doesn't make sense with a 5-year-old and a 9-month-old. You wouldn't leave them unattended that long. Why was he nowhere to be found when my mom asked my son to go check certain areas of the house? I begged my husband to just admit it, to stop treating me like an idiot, and to stop accusing our son of lying. Just tell me the truth, because being lied to right to my face is so incredibly maddening. He insists he was home, but he can't come up with any believable story of where he was or what he was doing during that time. The way he answers me when I ask him about this and demand truthful answers is so dismissive. When I tell him, "You left our children alone," he quickly says, "No, I didn't, so anyway." He says I'm overreacting and letting our son's imagination drive me crazy. I am convinced he was gone. We don't have a Ring camera, but at least one of our neighbors does. I'm so upset about this that I'm tempted to ask our neighbor for the Ring footage. I had to go out to my car and scream and cry because I got so upset. Of course, I didn't want my kids to see my reaction. I can't put into words how upset I am about the fact that I know he must have really left them alone but have no proof and am being treated like I'm just a paranoid nutcase of a mother/woman by him. Absolutely tired of my wife's way of having any discussion. I'm just tired. Anytime we have any minor disagreement, she bends the absolute hell of my words to paint me as the villain. She wasn't like this, but recently she's just awfully stereotypical of what people portray women like. She asks me what I think of a dress, because she isn't so sure it looks good. If I say she's beautiful, she doesn't believe me. If I say anything short of that, e.g. I don't think it suits you well, she will respond with, so you are saying it doesn't fit me because I'm fat. Last week she went out to buy some small stuff and ended up spending $250. Yes, we can afford it. Yes, it was stuff we needed. I just got slightly upset because she never gave me a heads up that she was spending that much money. Her response? So I'm crazy and irresponsible now? Fuck off, I need to get out of this. Every single issue, no matter how small, e.g. me leaving the towel on the bed, which she also does by the way, becomes an absolutely disproportionate discussion like it's a deal breaker for her. She might be bipolar or borderline, and I'm not sure I want to be around to find out and deal with it. My family hates my brother for dating someone wealthier than us and it's tearing us apart. I, 35F, have a younger brother, 27M, and I've always seen him as the black sheep of the family. He has some learning issues, and he has the lowest level of college education out of me and my siblings. Nothing wrong with that. He lived at home longer than any of us. My brother has told me I'm really the only person in the family who actually believed in him and doesn't condescend. He told me I've always been there for him and been unconditionally supportive. Hell, he's told me on several occasions that I'm his favorite sibling. Haha. He started dating this girl, 26, a bit ago, and I think they're a wonderful couple. They very clearly love each other, and I sincerely hope it works out between the two of them because she's perfect for him, and he seems perfect for her. The thing is, she and her family are far wealthier than ours, and from the beginning, I could tell our parents were a little insecure about that. He's also had a lifelong dream of being in the film industry, and she apparently has a family member who has some connections. As a result, he's consistently worked on TV shows for the past year. I also know that when she comes over, she always brings fancy foods that are pretty much always a step above what our mom is capable of cooking. The fact that he's also the only one in the family who doesn't have student debt seems to be a sore spot with my parents and siblings. His partner has an apartment in Manhattan, and she invited him to move in with her. He told us he's taking her up on that offer. Tonight, we all had dinner together minus my brother, and we talked about it. From what I could tell, my sister fucking hates him because she's always wanted to live in the city but doesn't have a job that could maintain that. Our brother fucking hates him for being able to live his dream job while he had to give his up. Our parents seem to fucking hate him because he now has all these opportunities that he didn't work for because he found someone who has money. Of course, there were some snarky comments about how he might only be dating her for her money, and they didn't know why she was with him. Every time they made cheap shots at him, I tried to stand up for him but was met with pushback. By the end of the conversation, it was clear that any defense for him was not welcome, and flags were being planted. Afterwards, I called my brother to let him know how proud I am of him and how happy I am for him, and he asked if I could come over sometime to show me the new apartment. They even invited me to stay a few days in the city at their place. I'm dealing with so much shit right now with my fiancé and my job. I seriously don't have the energy to deal with a family civil war, but I don't know what's going to happen. I love my brother, and we text pretty much every day, but I also don't want to burn bridges with other people in the family, so I'm frustrated, stressed, scared, and disappointed. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.